Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing. Hi, I'm Paul and I'll be your host this morning here on New Zealand Sports Radio. We'll be covering the cricket with a cracking opening ODI between South Africa and Pakistan. We've also got the test match between the West Indies and Sri Lanka to cover. NRL action, we've got rugby action, the NBA and NBL in basketball, results in the A-League, and news from the cycling world, as well as golf action, both PGA and the LPGA, where we've got golfers in action there from New Zealand. This is your best way to start the day. That's with all the important sports news. I can't remember if I said what day it was, but it's Saturday, the 3rd of April today. And let's kick off with the golf news then. And over in the PGA, it's the last tournament before the Masters, and it's the Valeron Texas Open. They're currently live in the second round, with Tringale of the USA leading at 10 under par. Danny Lee is struggling in this one. He hasn't started his second round yet, but he finished 5 over par in the first round, leaving him currently sat in 120th place. You're going to say making the cut this weekend is going to be tough for Danny. He's going to need a cracking second round there. Over in the LPGA, at the ANA Inspiration, and again, the second round is currently live with just Anne Garan at 6 under par leading the way currently. She's in a 3-way tie actually there, with Maguire and Tavar Tanakit as well. Lydia Ko is in action in this one, and she is yet to start her second round, but finished at 2 under par off the opening round in 25th place. So 4 shots back off the lead currently, but still with the second round to play there. So in contention, we're going to need to have a good round to close that gap. Over in the cycling, this weekend is the second monument of the season with the Tour of Flanders, and the following weekend is normally the third monument with Paris-Roubaix, but Paris-Roubaix, due to COVID in northern France, is going to has been delayed until the 2nd and 3rd of October this year. So again, one of the spring classics actually being raced in the autumn instead. Over in the A-League then, and we had action, one game yesterday with Macarthur FC playing Perth Glory. Macarthur continuing their fine opening season. Remember, this is their debut season. They won the game 2-0, and that puts them up into second place, just 3 points behind Central Coast Mariners there in the Bunnings A-League. So fantastic season for Macarthur FC so far in that one. Moving on to the basketball, and over in the States, we had 7 games yesterday, including the 76ers beating the Cavaliers 114-94. The other key results, Hawks beat the Spurs 134-129, and the Pelicans were in action with an unusual lineup, resting a couple of players in this one. They were played against the Orlando Magic, and it was a tight first half. They lost the first quarter by just a point, but then Orlando Magic stretched out a 7-point lead at halftime. But a big third quarter where the Pelicans put on 31 points, saw them take back the lead, or sort of get them back into contention and even things up. Orlando Magic evened things up at the end, putting it into overtime, where the Magic won by 14-9 to win the whole thing 115-110. Leading the Pelicans was Nickel Alexander-Walker with 31 points. Stephen Adams got 10 rebounds and 8 points as well. For the Magic, Wendell Carter came off the bench to score 21 points and get a double-double with 12 rebounds as well, to lead the Orlando Magic for that win. What does that mean for the tables? Well, On the Eastern Conference side, the Nets are ahead of the 76ers and the Bucks. On the Western Conference side, the Jazz lead the Suns and the Clippers, the Pelicans all the way down in 12th place in that one. Over in the NBL in Australia, and Melbourne United took on the Taipans yesterday, winning that one 95-85, meaning that they are in second place, just behind the Wildcats in the table. Taipans still stuck to the bottom of the table there in that one. In the A-League, we talked about the A-League already, haven't we? Sorry, folks, I've all mixed up. In the NRL, whoops, I've just gone and closed the tab. But in the NRL, we had 2 games yesterday, and we had 2 blowouts as well, at, making it 3 blowouts this weekend in the 4th round so far. Remember, on Thursday evening, the Panthers beat the Sea Eagles 46-6, and then yesterday, the Rabbitohs thrashed the Bulldogs 38-0. And after the big win for the Broncos last weekend, they lost to the Storm 40-6. So big wins so far this weekend for the Bulldogs. That's the second game on the trot where they have, the third game on the trot now, where they have failed to score a point. So real issues at the Bulldogs there. We'd say 3 games on the trot with no points, and there's going to be pressure on that side clearly. 2 games today: the Sharks take on the Cowboys and the Titans take on the Raiders. The Warriors will be in action on tomorrow on Sunday at 8:15 p.m. Moving on then to the rugby, and 2 really cracking games yesterday in Super Rugby Aotearoa and Super Rugby AU. Super Rugby Aotearoa, we saw the Highlanders go up the road and take on the Crusaders, and they dominated this game to everybody's surprise, leading the Crusaders 16-7 at half-time. In our live chat, I said that things in the balance, but other comments said no. Look, this was that the Crusaders were still heavy favourites, only being a couple of scores back, and that was shown in the bookies, in the TAB's odds as well, who had the Crusaders still heavy favourites at half time. But the Highlanders came out kicking over a couple of threes to get that lead, and stretch out the lead. Then scored 2 tries as the Crusaders were chasing the game to push it out to 7-26. The Crusaders did pull back 1 try to make it 12-26, but really was showing that they were under pressure. We saw passes hitting grass, going behind players, and that led to the final try, meaning it was 12-33 for a record-winning margin by the Highlanders of 21 points. Previous to that had been only 16. There had been a 16-point win, was their biggest win over the Crusaders. So cracking win there for the Highlanders, really lighting up the tournament now with them after a couple of upsets last weekend as well. So really, it is turning into a tournament where whoever turns up on the day wins the game. Over in Australia, we followed up with the Waratahs versus the Brumbies, where the Waratahs obviously have recently sacked their coach, Rob Penny, and seem to galvanise the players who were putting a lot of territory and pressure in that first half, but just not getting the final result for the tries. In response, the Brumbies went in to the Waratahs 22 4 times and scored 4 converted tries. 4 tries, 2 unconverted, 2 converted, to lead 10-24 at half time. The Waratahs came out in the second half though, and continued their good form, but also were getting points as the Brumbies stumbled, and it ended up being a tight one. with the Waratahs scoring out on the buzzer out wide, giving Will Harrison a difficult conversion to even things up and put it in to half time. Unfortunately, he missed that one to the left, and that meant that the Brumbies held on to win by just 2 points, 22-24, as they didn't score any points in that second half. Moving on then to the cricket, we had the first one-day international between South Africa and Pakistan. South Africa were in trouble at 4 for 55 until Rassie Van Dusen and David Miller came together. David Miller put on scoring 50 in that stand. Rassie Van Dusen batting through the rest of the innings undefeated on 123 to lead his side to 273 for 6 in that one. In response, Pakistan got off to a difficult start, losing a wicket in just the third over. But that brought Imran ul Haq and Babar Azam together. Imran ul Haq scored 70 and Azam 103 in a captain's man of the match performance to power the team to 2 for 186. They were losing plenty of wickets after that, but it came down to the last couple of overs with a batsman out receiving a high full toss. He chopped onto his wickets in the penultimate over, but it was called a no ball because it was too high a full toss. That's just increased the level of excitement in this one, as we then had a wicket in the opening ball of the final over. Followed up by 3 dot balls, meaning that Pakistan needed 3 off the final 2 balls. So it was a great innings there. Great bowling there in that final over by South Africa. But 2 runs and then a single off the last meant that Pakistan won this one by just 1 run at the end, as they scored 274 to win the game off the very last ball of the innings there. So cracking opening one ODI between South Africa and Pakistan. Over in the West Indies, and it's the final day of the second test between the West Indies and Sri Lanka. The West Indies had a good lead after the first innings, and in their second innings scored 280 for 4 declared. Braithwaite top scoring with 85 there. Jason Holder also getting 71 not out. That has set up Sri Lanka with them a target of 251 runs. We're into the second session of the final day, so we can't see them getting that, but they've scored 126 for 1 as they look to save the test match. Looking at their strike rate, they're really not trying to chase that total at all. Currently, the captain, Karan Tane, is on 67 not out, along with Fernando on 17 not out. So West Indies trying all their options, having used 8 bowlers in this second innings, looking for those wickets. It's one Sri Lanka currently batting to save the second test between them and the West Indies. You have now started the day the best way with all the important sports news. We'll be back this evening with post-match reaction straight after the Blues versus the Hurricanes, straight after that final whistle, just like we were yesterday, straight after the final whistle of that Crusaders versus the Highlanders game. Also, we'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. with the Super Rugby review show, and I'll be here at 7 a.m. with the morning sports briefing. So have a wonderful weekend, folks, and catch you all later.